Hi everyone, John here for JPTV for Weekend News Roundup for week number 42. There's quite a few stories to talk about as always, so let's get cracking with a brand new story this time round. Netflix has fired its head of communications, Jonathan Freeland, over his use of the N-word. In an internal memo, Chief Executive Reed Hastings apologised to staff for not acting sooner. His descriptive use of the N-word on at least 2 occasions at work showed unacceptably low racial awareness and sensitivity, the note to all the staff had said. He said that the comments showed a deep lack of understanding. The memo was first published by the Hollywood Reporter from Mr. Hastings, and it has been authenticated by the BBC. John Freeland wrote in a tweet, "I feel awful about the distress this lapse has caused people at the company I love. Leaders have to be beyond reproach in the example we set, and unfortunately I fell short of that standard when I was insensitive in speaking to my team about the words that offend in comedy." Now, there's nothing unusual about this in any shape or form. There's idiots all over the place, as I previously discussed about it. With this story, as I say, it just shows that nobody is beyond reproach, as I've mentioned in previous videos beforehand. But yeah, it's interesting that this is happening all over the world, and I use interesting because it does interest me that people of such high levels think they are beyond reproach and therefore aren't culpable in their actions. Well, they clearly are. Now, Netflix is a company that is massively growing over the last few years. They've started making their big movies now. I think there's a new movie coming out soon, if it hasn't already come out. There was a movie that they did with Will Smith even a little while ago. So it's interesting that they're doing this. Netflix is a massive company, and as a result, Netflix have made the completely right decision by getting rid of this head of communications, because he can't communicate in this day and age. Let's be frank, people. He can't communicate. This bloke doesn't know how to talk in the current climate, and this article is a massive example of it. Almost 2/3 of drivers are unaware of the punishment for using mobile phones at the wheel more than 12 months after the introduction of tougher laws, a recent poll has found. The RAC found only 36% of the 2,000 UK motorists that were quizzed about this new law. New offenders face 6 penalty points and a £2,000 fine. Some 41% believe more visible law enforcement is needed, and 22% advocated stronger penalties. The punishment was doubled from 3 points and £100 fine last year. I did report on this when it came out. This made it enough to ban those with less than 2 years experience. To get back behind the wheel, these offenders have to retake both their theory and practical parts of the driving test. The Department for Transport figures shows 780 people were injured in accidents in 2016 when a driver was distracted or impaired by their phone, up 10% of the previous year. Now, as I've mentioned in my previous videos, which would have been on the main channel if I remember correctly, that there is also a law coming in that is going to stop passengers on the phone using their phone whilst the vehicle is in motion, because it's just the same sort of distraction. Now, for me personally, I think that this secondary law that's due to come in, I think is useless. To have a passenger using a mobile phone while you're driving is no more distraction than a normal conversation or listening to the radio or listening to a CD or MP3, whatever. There's no more distraction on this, so it's a ridiculous thing that this is coming. But it doesn't surprise me in any shape or form that there is this level of ignorance, because at the end of the day, where have we seen the adverts from the Department of Transport? Where have we seen the posters? Where have we seen the flyers coming through? It just doesn't exist. It just does not exist. And as a result, this poll is not shocking in any shape or form, because it's the ignorance of the Department of Transport. That's it. There's no other way to describe it. They have not advertised enough information on it. US President Donald Trump has renewed sanctions on North Korea, citing an extraordinary threat from its nuclear weapons, just 10 days after saying there was no risk from Pyongyang. Sorry, I should say. The Pentagon said the goal was to support diplomatic negotiations. It follows the decision earlier this week to suspend a major joint military exercise between the US and South Korea that has been planned for August. President Trump promised to end the annual war games between the allies in an unexpected concession at his summit with Mr. Kim, calling them provocative and expensive. Now, I'm not sure how to my personal view on this. I mean, we all know how inconsistent Donald Trump is. It was the fact that they were saying there was no problems. North Korea, as I said in previous videos, were dismantling their nuclear wars tests and then their nuclear facilities. They were dismantling everything and people were being pulled out of the certain areas, everything like that. So it's a bit of a surprise that this has now come out saying this article. It doesn't surprise me because it just shows to a degree that North Korea has not kept up to its bargain to actually properly demilitarize and denuclearize the relevant areas that were put in the treaty. So we'll see where this story goes. But as I say, it's just weird. It's a weird one. I don't understand the thinking behind it. In terms of the fact that this is contradictory to what happened a couple of weeks ago. It just shows that the world isn't what it always claims to be. There's more below the surface, and I will keep you guys posted on this story because I'm very, very interested in where this is going to be going. Union officials have accused the Transport Secretary Chris Grayling of running scared after he pulled out of a conference on transport in the north. Mr. Grayling was due to speak at the summit in Manchester on Monday, but will now take part in a parliamentary debate about a third runway at Heathrow. RMT General Secretary Mike Cash said Mr. Grayling had basically chickened out. The Department for Transport said another minister, Baroness Sugg, would attend in Mr. Grayling's absence. Mr. Grayling was due to join northern leaders including Greater Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham and Steve Rotherham, a mayor of the Liverpool City region, at the Northern Transport Summit. Wigan MP Lisa Nandy said Mr. Grayling's cancellation says everything you need to know about the contempt with which this government holds the north of England. Now, that is a little bit provocative as far as I'm concerned. Yes, it's poor that he's pulled out on this. Yes, there is more respect than is deserved for this meeting because the northern networks matters just as much as the London networks, just as much as the Essex, Kent, Sussex, you name it. They're all important. Not one should take priority over the other. But this is Parliament we're talking about. This is members of Parliament who oversee that they look after themselves and don't look after the greater good, which is the contradictory of why you get into politics, because the whole purpose of becoming an MP is to look after your constituency, but they don't. They look after themselves, and this is poor, absolutely poor on this. Again, as always, politics, this is a very political story, but at the same point, I get their points where he's being seen a chicken, because at the end of the day, there's a lot of stuff going on that the Transport Secretary needs to be accounted for more than just what's going up in the north. It's around the whole country as a whole. The number of elderly people in the UK diagnosed each year with cancer is set to rise by 80% within the next 20 years, a report has now predicted. Cancer Research UK estimates that by 2035, about 234,000 over 75s will get cancer every year, up from the 130,000 currently diagnosed. The government said that cancer was a priority, and the Prime Minister has announced increased funding for the NHS. Each year, some 360,000 new cases of cancer are diagnosed within the UK. Now, I'm all for the Prime Minister putting new money aside to sort out the fight against cancer. It's great that Cancer UK, the Marie Curie Cancer, the Bobby Moore Fund, etc., it's great that all those companies and foundations are coming together to try and beat this awful disease this virus as much as possible. I love it, it's great, but one question to you, Theresa May: where's the money coming from? Is this coming from school funding? Is this coming from defence? Is this coming from policing? Is this coming from our actual taxes itself? It would be great to know exactly where this is coming from. But as I say, it's a great thing that this is being set as a priority. Whether that happens or not is another matter. But I'm grateful that this has happened, because I've had, as you will know from my previous videos, we've had loss of cancer in the family. I've had loss of family friends due to cancer as well. You know, it's a virus that does not need to be here, and as a result, the quicker we can get rid of this, the better humanity will be. But last and by no means least, a science topic now, because as you know, I like to keep abreast of what's going on with science. An ape that is new to science has been discovered buried in an ancient tomb in China. The gibbon has already become extinct, suggesting humans wiped out primate populations long before the modern age. Living primates are currently in peril, with many of them on the brink of extinction. The new gibbon, named Junzi Imperialis or Junzi Imperialis, it's one of the two, may be the first to vanish as a direct result of human actions, according to scientists led by the Zoological Society of London. All of the world's apes, chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans and gibbons are all threatened with extinction today due to human activities, but no ape species were thought to have become extinct as a result of hunting or habitat loss, said Dr. Samuel Turvey, the lead researcher on this article. However, the discovery of the recently extinct Junzi changes this and highlights the vulnerability of gibbons in particular. Now, it's no surprise that we as a human race in general are killing off animals left, right and centre. We've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. We pretty much killed off the woolly mammoth. That was partly due to the climate, but we also killed the woolly mammoth off because we used their skins for clothing as well as food. And same thing with the saber-toothed cat. For all you American viewers out there, there is no such thing as a saber-toothed tiger. The correct definition of it, and I wish Hollywood would wake up to this, is that it is a saber-toothed cat. But as I say, just digressing off the story quickly. So back onto the subject. This isn't a surprise in any shape or form. I'm glad that this has come out, because hopefully now people will actually realise what the hell is going on with this country. We do not own this planet. We are just literally the caretakers, basically. You know, there will become a time where human beings become extinct, but there's no excuse for us to be able to wipe out other species as a result. So thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here and you like what I'm doing on the channel, please click the subscribe button that should be here about now. Please also turn on the notification bell so you get first dibs on the videos. As always, feel free to put your comments down on the subjects. Please click the like button, and also please share these videos with anybody that you know that would be interested in it. There's a new video coming up soon, a brand new format that I'm really buzzing to do. I can't wait for this to go up. It might not be going up today, but it will be coming up soon. So in the meantime, thank you very much for watching and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see you again very soon.